Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel. Now, I did buy a little lapel microphone, but I just did a whole bunch of tests with it and the sound quality is awful. So we're not using it today, we're just back on the old phone microphone, so I apologize for the terrible sound quality. I will get a better one at some point. Yes. So this video I have actually been taking notes for about 3 weeks. And then some news dropped. And my notes completely changed. So this was going to go from, this was originally going to be a, my God, what utter perfection, Netflix has finally done something right, I cannot believe it, I am so excited for the next season. That's the sort of rant this video was going to be. Now, it is something completely different. So yeah, thanks Netflix! You suck! I am so unbelievably angry. I'm going to try not to swear too early in this video, but I am just... The rage has been seeping out of me since yesterday, since I heard this news and I saw it on Facebook. I am furious. I am furious. If you don't know what I'm talking about, and that little flip of an article meant nothing to you. So, in the last couple of weeks, Netflix have released a new series called KAOS. It was a fantastic modernization of Greek history and Greek mythology. It starred Jeff Goldblum as well as a full cast of absolutely fantastic actors. Some of them I'd been seeing for the first time, some of them I was enjoying seeing again. And the way it was done, I'm still going to do a rant from my notes here, but the way it was done, I'm just going to say straight off the bat, it was fantastic. At least in my own opinion. Of course, there's always going to be someone out there who's like, I thought it was crap. I hated it. I didn't really like it. That's good. Good for you. I'm sure things you enjoy, that there are things you enjoy that I am not a fan of. I don't care. I don't care if you didn't like it. I loved it. A lot of my friends really loved it. A lot of people I know in my life absolutely loved it. And we were all jonesing for the next season. I actually watched the first season 3 times in the span of a week. That's how much I enjoyed this show. I found KAOS just stunning. Absolutely stunning. The writing is really fun, the premise is great, the way that they've mixed really traditional, like, mythology in with modern things, Dionysus is the sweetest character in the world and I would die for him, and I am just so beyond furious that this is what's happened. So let's talk about it, shall we? So KAOS debuted at quite high numbers in Netflix. It debuted in the top 5 or the top 10. It's had over 5 million views in the time that it's been up. It's still getting pushed by Netflix as one of their top titles. And they have cancelled it. They've cancelled it. Can we just have anything nice? This is why we can't have nice things. I am so sick of Netflix greenlighting multiple seasons of fucking bullshit that makes no sense, that nobody's even watching, but then we're here cancelling something that debuted really high, did really well, has been spoken about massively online, was extremely beautifully progressive. Like, what are they doing? There's no chance for anything to get good anymore. When are we actually going to give a show 5 seconds to breathe? When are we actually going to give something a little bit of time? Yeah. Can you tell I'm angry? I'm really angry. I'm really just annoyed that they are picking up these pieces of art and then just smashing them on the floor because they don't hit some random arbitrary number that they think they need to hit. You are making billions in profits, Netflix, and then you're raising the prices all the time, and then you finally create something that's good, and now we're just gonna drop it like a hot potato because who gives a shit? I'm mad. I'm so mad because I just don't understand what's even the point anymore. Like, what's the point of your service if you are not going to provide entertainment? Like, sure, there's been a lot of shows that have been cancelled that probably didn't need a season 2, that weren't being watched, but this one was. It sat in the top 10 for weeks. It's been talked about massively online. It's created this huge buzz. And for what? To just go in the trash with all the other amazing shows you've just trashed for no reason? Anyway, so I'm going to have a little bit of a talk about what's so great about this show, and if you want to watch it, then I do recommend it still. However, it leaves on a cliffhanger, and now we're never going to know the answers, and it's just a little bit depressing. This video was going to be something completely different. This video was supposed to be positive and happy and talking about how I see hope in television again and how I'm excited for the future of television if this is the sort of thing we're going to be producing, and how I'm so excited to see some original stories, even though, you know, they're not original stories because they're taken from mythology, but the way it was done was very original. The way that the stories were linked in together was very original. And I was just so thrilled to feel a little bit of excitement again for a TV show. I have not just sat and just watched a show without doing something else because of my unbelievable ADHD. I will always be working on some arts and craft project. I will be playing The Sims. I will be editing photography on my computer. I'll be drawing. I'll always be doing something while I watch a TV show. It is almost never that I will put everything down and just watch it. And I did. That one. Over and over. I finished it and I just needed more, so I watched it again and again. And it's just so heartbreaking to see art like that just taken and thrown in the trash. By a multi-million-dollar company, billion-dollar company, I don't know how much they're worth, but it's a lot of fucking money. And they just don't care. Anyway. So I'm going to get my notes, and we're going to put that aside, and we're going to have a little bit of a rant about the good things in this show and how fabulous it is, shall we? Now, KAOS. What a piece of chaos it's now become. But the show itself, it's so genius. It's one of those things that I almost want to say it's perfect, because for me, it just was a great piece of work. Was some of the mythology changed? Yes. Did I care? No. It made it better, in my opinion. And I'm sure Netflix probably didn't want to handle as much grape as was originally in some of these myths, which I'm very glad that they took out. We don't need a ton of grape glorification and things within this show. Like, yeah, no, the Minotaur the creation was written a little bit differently. A few things like that. Which I'm glad for. We don't need a ton of grape in modern media that is supposed to be a light-hearted, fun sort of comedy. So I'm very glad that they have redone the mythology there, and I think it actually worked really, really well. I loved the way the fates worked. Seeing Susie Izzard as herself just thriving was fantastic. I really, really enjoyed her. I'm going to say now, from this point on, there's probably going to be a few spoilers. I'm going to try and keep it as spoilers-free as possible, but if you do still want to watch the show and you're worried about spoilers, from this point on, there might actually be some spoilers, so just you've been warned at this point. If you want to pause it and watch the show and come back to this video later, I completely understand. Or if you don't care that much about mild spoilers, keep watching. I'm just watching, if I look down here, it's because I've got my notes here, and I'm just trying not to cut up the video a little bit too much. Now, let's talk about Jeff Goldblum. Oh, Daddy Goldblum. I love Jeff Goldblum. I think he is an absolutely fantastic actor. I enjoy him and everything he does. I think he is so witty and clever, and I think he's the only person who they could put in the role of Zeus like that I would be really satisfied with. He plays the role of the self-centered, ignorant, obnoxious asshole so well. And I think any other actor, spoilers, what happens in the last episode when the kitten is unalived by Jeff as part of the plot. I think he's the only actor I could not instantly want to murder for that scene. I was pre-warned about that scene by a friend who was like, look, content warning for the last episode, and she didn't tell me what for, but I'm glad that she mentioned it because I didn't enjoy that bit. Poor little Dennis. We just spent the whole series getting so emotionally attached to this poor little Dennis, and then snuffed out so quickly. But it was a really great moment for the character development of Dionysus. So, you know, it is one of those ones where I hate that it happened, but I can understand why it was written in there. So, unfortunately, I can understand and agree with that decision in terms of the writing. I really enjoy the introduction title cards that they had for all the characters as we're introduced to them, so the name and then who they were underneath. I thought that they were really clever and really well done. It's a really nice way of getting some basic exposition dumped very, very quickly. So, you know, Hera, wife and sister, the way that they wrote them, I really enjoyed the name title cards. I thought that they were really fun and interesting and a really good way of getting information out nice and quick. I really, really enjoyed them. I really enjoyed the way the Trojans were worked in. I thought it was a nice sort of comparison to a lot of social issues in the real world. So really appreciated the way the Trojan storylines were written in and the tragedy behind that, the way that, you know, Arya's dad lies to her and the way that those poor kids are executed. I really thought that it was a very effective piece of storytelling. I really thought that the Trojan storyline was really, really fun. I really, really enjoyed Riddy. I thought she was a really, like, in-depth character. I can see how some people didn't really love her, but I really, really did. I think that place of being trapped in your own fear is really interesting and fairly relatable to a lot of people. The way that she is just so afraid of her own happiness over somebody else's, and then the way she starts to unpack that, I think that was really, really, really lovely, and I'm very sad to not see where her story goes from here. The inclusion of the series was just fantastic. I just loved the way it was cast. I really felt that the cast was so clever. Poseidon is just the sweetest bean, and I am so sad that we don't get to see more of that character. Hera was brilliant. I thought she was just such a bitch in such a great way. I do have one little retcon that they seem to have done. Hera has like superpowers in the first episode when Dionysus comes in and she gets mad at him and kind of like smacks his head into the table, but her powers are never seen again. So was that something that was retconned? Was that something Zeus did? I don't really like that was one thing that was kind of lost in the source. Like, was that Hera having superpowers? What made Dionysus's head smack into the table multiple times in the first episode? That was one thing that I was like, so she has powers? She doesn't have powers? And we don't see her have these sort of telekinetic sort of powers again. So that was a little bit confusing. But I did really enjoy Hera. I thought the way that the tongues and her like minions was really good. I really enjoyed that. The way that the storyline like tied back into itself, I thought was very, very clever. The first time I watched it, I was having a really bad pain flare and I was exhausted and I didn't really follow some of the storylines straight away. But the way that the story was written, that was okay because it linked back into itself so many times that I was able to pick it up as it went along. Then when I rewatched it the second time, I realized how much I really had missed in that early few episodes. But they are really clever in the way that those early episodes tie in and tell you enough hints that you don't get the whole thing and then it comes back. it was very, very, very clever and very well done. I also just wanted to talk a bit about how, like, Persephone and Hades are just the sweetest things ever, and Hades was just... Oh, Hades was just the most beautiful, sweetest creature, and I just had this biggest heart for him. He just... Oh my god, it was so sad to watch the way that he is treated through the show, and the absolute heartbreaking, like, trauma, I suppose, he's feeling for the situation that's happening with the gate, and how he feels responsible, and how he just wants the best for humans. And I really loved Persephone and the way she sassed out at Hera and the way she rewrote her own story. I really think that was a beautiful addition, even though it does change from the mythology. The idea that she genuinely just loves Hades and their relationship is beautiful and sweet and caring and kind, and all of that was just propaganda spread by Hera to bring down Hades. I really liked that because Persephone's original myth is so deeply tragic, and I really appreciate the idea of giving her some agency back, because there is stories where she does love him but she doesn't, but he's horrible, and then they've even like how the character said there was even like grape and other things worked in, and the idea that that's been taken out and it's genuinely just a beautiful, passionate, caring relationship. I thought that was a lovely addition. I really, really did. I thought that was so super sweet. Also, Dionysus, I know I've said already that I would die for him, but he is a brilliant character. The actor plays it so genuinely. He really broke my heart at multiple times, the way that he just wanted more, and the way he just wanted to be seen and validated, and to take the passion that and the care. I just found them beautiful characters. I'm really sad we're never going to meet the other siblings. I really wanted to see what casting we had for Aphrodite and for Hades, for Ares and the other gods. I wanted to see who these were. We had a mention of how Hercules gave Zeus the amazing lucky watch. I wanted to see who that person was going to be. I wanted to meet these characters. And I'm so beyond furious and frustrated that we never get that. It's gone. It's just gone. It's gone. Why would they do this? So yes, that's frustrating. But I do really love the casting and the characters. I just... very well done. I also really, really appreciated, I know I've mentioned it, but the way that they modernized the history. So it was this completely God-focused, sacrifices, traditional sort of setup, but it was set in very modern times. And I just found that juxtaposition really, really well done. It was really clever and just very smart. It was just very smart. Like the episode where Rudy is in the supermarket and they're announcing toy tridents over the PA for the ceremony. I just thought it was very clever and very funny, and I just really enjoyed the way that it was played, that it was a modern version, like it was as if the gods existed today. And I just very much thought that that was witty, and it was just very fun. I very much enjoyed that. I also found Zeus a fantastic character. I found Zeus just such an interesting character, so vapid yet so complex. Like the way that, you know, he's so happy to see a human sacrifice but then trolls the human sacrifice's shoes and makes fun of the person who has just given their life for him, and the way that he was so callous, and the way that you see that he is actually very evil as the show goes further into it, and you realize the dark nature of this character and the things that he has done to continue his own selfishness. Jeff Goldblum just played the comedy and the evil so very well, and it was a masterclass in that sort of thing. I can't find the correct word for what I'm trying to say here, but He did such a fantastic job. I was so impressed by the nuance of his performance, and I'm just beyond furious that I do not. I'm kind of glad that I put off filming this video, because now if I had filmed this as this huge big praise, crying about how beautiful it was and how much I loved it and how much everyone should watch it, and then the news had come out that it's been cancelled a few days after I posted the video or something, I would have just been gutted and felt so unbelievably stupid. So it sucks. It sucks, man. This sucks. I'm so mad. Orpheus, the character of Orpheus, who's the Riddy's husband, the one who travels. I love his travel through the underworld. The way that the underworld is filmed in black and white and the normal world is filmed in this hyper vivid color. Oh, I loved that. I loved that so much. It really created such atmosphere with that. And the way Orpheus's journey goes through the underworld and the tests and the trials he undergoes, I just found that whole thing, that series, that sequence, very well done. I appreciated the thought of the way he had to put his own life ahead of, like, behind what his needs were. And the water test was a very interesting one, because it's such a primal human need, and the strength it would have taken to push through that. And that story, he's a bit of a simp. He is a little bit simpy. I do think that the song that he plays at the concert is a real banger, though. I really enjoyed that. Quite often there are songs written into TV shows and they kind of suck, but that one I really enjoyed. The song that Morpheus, it's not the Matrix, Orpheus plays at his live concert. I really enjoyed that. His storyline is great and a bit simpy and a bit sad, but at the same time, I really stood with Riddy, and I just found that such a beautifully complex piece of storytelling, because her feelings are completely valid and so are his, and it's just such a beautifully heartbreaking piece of story. And yeah, I liked that. I thought it was lovely, and the way we can lose ourselves in the image of what someone else sees in us. I just thought it was a very powerful piece of messaging, because she never wanted to hurt him, but it just wasn't what her life wanted and needed. And I don't know, I just really appreciated the way that story was very nuanced, especially when you tie in another love interest, which is what happens further down the story when she does reach the underworld and she's there. And yeah, the Orpheus storyline I just thought was really lovely. I wanted to touch on, but not focus on, the inclusion that is also in KAOS. The character KAOS, I cried so many times over him and his story. The original story from Greek mythology is extremely dark. I'm not going to mention it here. However, if you do want to read more about it, I'm going to link an article down below by Danny Kessel-Odom, who wrote a fantastic article about the trans experience and how it was powerful to him as a trans person. I, as a cis woman, don't want to speak too much about it. I just really want to mention that as somebody who has a lot of trans people in my life who I very much love, and to many of them I'm extremely close with and care deeply, deeply about, I was touched and moved by this piece of work, and I can only imagine how powerful it would feel to these people to be seen so prominently and to have the story so important and so beautifully told. I've read and seen a few trans people online talking about how it resonated with them and how it was very, very special to them, and there's also a lot of myth repairing being done here. Again, the article by Danny will talk about that better than I can. However, the original myth of KAOS is very, very dark and very, very sad. And even though the story that is in the show is also very dark and very sad, it's given him a lot of his own agency and power back. And the way that Misa, I think I'm saying that right, Butler, the actor who plays KAOS, the way that he delivers the performance is so deeply genuine, and you can really tell that it's a performance that's very special to him. And to see trans people being able to really represent themselves and tell their own stories in this sort of way, it was just really, really powerful. And another reason I am so heartbroken that this show is being closed and shut down and cancelled, because these stories are important. These representations are really important, and to have that stripped away from a community that really, really needs it at the moment breaks my heart. It makes me so angry, because the way this story was being told was so beautifully respectful and so romantic and so heartfelt, and now that's gone at a time when we really, really need that sort of representation, and we really need these sort of stories being told to show people that these are real people and real humans. And even though this is a fantasy story, obviously the character of KAOS is not a real person and a real story. I know that. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is people are really experiencing these sort of things, and having characters that people can understand and relate through helps people understand and relate people in their life that are going through that. So it was really sad on that level for this show to be cancelled, because it was so beautifully done. To have not just one trans person as the main character, but two, I was so impressed. And the way that queer identities were respected and integrated, and the way that queer relationships were just a very normal part of the world building, it was just really beautiful. It was really beautiful. And I'm really sad to see it go because of all of these things. It was a show that did exposition well, storyline well, the characters were beautifully written, the casting was fantastic, the soundtrack was great. All in all, I'm very, very, very sad, and I think Netflix have made a very big mistake in cancelling this show. So please, go watch it. Go watch this beautiful piece of art that was created by these amazing humans. And, I don't know, maybe if enough people watch it, they'll bring it back. It's Netflix, though. I doubt it, right? How many shows are we all still waiting for to come back? But anyway, I'm going to wrap this rant up here. There was probably a lot more I wanted to say about this show, but now it's just making me sad. So I'm going to leave it here. Please comment below what your favourite part of KAOS was, or what show Netflix cancelled on you that made you really sad, or just, I don't know, your thoughts. Let me know your thoughts on this subject down below. Thank you for watching. I hope you've enjoyed this video. Yes, I will keep working on getting a proper microphone, but it's probably not going to be for a while because I'm a broke bitch. And thank you very much for watching, and keep growing like your plants. Bye.